Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to learn how to make a Google Forms assessment, a Google Forms multiple choice assessment. With Google Forms, you can make assessments of all kinds of types, but the easiest to make and to grade is a multiple choice test. So I want to show you how to do that. So when you start, you go to your Drive and you go to New, and then More, and then there's Google Forms right there. And when you click it, it will open up an untitled form that looks like this. What I like to do is I like to go ahead and change the title of my form, because when you start making several Google Forms quizzes, they tend to look alike and it can be hard to keep up with them. So I like to go ahead and name what it's going to be. So for this one, I'm going to put Google Forms test quiz. So, and then I'm going to go down here, and you're going to watch as I go here. It automatically defaults the name of my quiz to what the file name was. It doesn't have to stay that way, because I'm going to change it to "Hey you, it's the quiz." So that's the title of my quiz now, and you'll see that it's different from the title of the file, the name of the file. So the next thing I like to do is I like to go over to here, which is the color palette, and I like to click on it, and I like to make the quiz a different color, because, again, when you have multiple quizzes and they're all the same color, it can be hard to find them. So you can change to any of these colors, or you can do a theme with a picture. And I'm going to do a theme with a picture, which is right here, and I click it, and I select it, and it's going to change everything just like that. And so then I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to show you the one that I've already done, because I'm going to save us a little bit of time in the video. So when you do this, sorry about that. When you look at this quiz, there are some things I want to go ahead and show you before we get started. So looking up at the top, you can hover, and it says move to folder, star it. Right here is a place for add-ons if you do Google Forms add-ons, which there are some to use if you'd like. The color palette we've already talked about. The preview button is what you click on to look and see what your quiz is going to look like to your students. And then your settings. Let's take a look at settings. The first page is a general setting. So would you like to collect email addresses? I would always suggest to go ahead and do that regardless. It just helps keep up with the material. You can restrict it to the users in the county. You can limit to one response. And I think that's important to think about whether or not you want to allow retakes for this assessment. Because if you want to allow retakes, you do not want to limit the one response. If you do not do any retakes, you can limit it to one response, and it's fine. You go to the presentation, and you can see I have the option of showing the progress bar, shuffling questions. You can allow them to submit another response if you want to, or take it off. You can also type in a message for the end of the quiz, like thanks, or you're awesome, or check your email for your grade, or whatever. Now, right here is a quizzes section of the settings. So there are two ways to grade a Google Forms assessment. Google has its own criteria, its own way to do it, and then there's an add-on you can use called flubaroo. I like to think of it as if you use points as a grading system in your class instead of averages of grades, then the quizzes option on Google Forms will be great for you. And if you wanted to make it a quiz, you would just click that. And then you can decide when to release the grade, and you can decide what you want your respondents to see. I would suggest, if you use averages of grades instead of point totals, that you may want to grade your Google Forms quiz using flubaroo, which is an add-on. And I'll show you how to do that in just a little bit. So those are the settings. So here's the quiz again. This is what it looks like to me in edit form, but it's not what it's going to look like to the students. So I've created 3 sections for this quiz. There's a beginning section where you put your name in, how's it going section, and then the quiz itself. So just to show you, I'm going to take this part off of here, and this question off of here, and we'll redo it so you can see. So let's go back up. Let's go up to here. And sorry about that. Sorry about that. This is a video that is taking me all day to try to do, and it's one of those ones where I'm determined I got to finish it because people need to see this, so if they want to work on these over the weekend, they can. So, back to this. The very first page is where I put the name. I would always suggest that you let them type their name in. It won't hurt them to type their name in. And if you type name in here, you see the options for different question types. You can see them right there. Short answer, paragraph, multiple choice, checkboxes, drop down, all these types of questions you can give. But again, the easiest is multiple choice to check. But for name, you have to do short answer. So just to review what these buttons are, this one will let you duplicate the question. This one will let you delete the question if you don't like it. And this is where you can make the question required, which means that they have to respond or they won't let them go on to the next section. So section 2, each section shows up as a page on the quiz. So section 1 would be by itself, then section 2 and 3. So section 2 is a how's it going section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a question here, and I'm going to type, how are you feeling today? So how are you feeling? Great, or terrible, or not sure yet. So those are my different options I'm going to give here. Now, I'm going to require it. And the reason I put it in here is just because sometimes you want to get a feel of how your students are feeling that day when they take the assessment. That kind of information can be helpful. You could also put in jokes or other questions. And you don't have to grade the questions. Every question that goes into Google Forms does not have to be graded. You get to choose which ones are graded and which ones are not graded. So this question's not going to hurt anything to have on there. So then the next section down here, there's an extra. How's it going? Let's get rid of him. That guy. Nope. Oh wait, he's not extra. Look, this is a great way to show you what happens next. So this right here is not in the right place. How are you feeling? It's supposed to be in the how's it going section. So you go right up here where these little 6 dots are, and you click and you drag. And if I drag it, it's going to put it wherever I want, wherever I release. So I released it back into the right section. So that little mistake helped us out. So we look at the quiz. So, okay, the quiz. You type in the questions here. On the questions, you can insert images if you want to. That's what that little image guy is. And so you can do that, or you can just type in answers. So that one's all done. This one right here has an image in it. So I'm going to go back and show you how to edit the image. So if you have an image and you want to replace it, you can go here and you can change it or remove it. I'm going to remove it, and I'm going to show you how to insert it. So I just showed you all the little add image buttons. Well, for the question, if you want to add an image, you go right over to the right of the question, and you click on it. It takes you to your insert image menu. I like to put mine in Google Drive, but you can upload them from your computer at home too. I have this really original folder that says Google Video Stuff, so I'm going to reinsert this picture back in. Okay, and there it is. You can add a caption to it if you want to, but you can have a picture there, and then you can add your choices underneath it. And my next question is, who is this guy? So I inserted another image with some names, and then at the bottom I put, what is the best college team? NC State, UNC, Duke, Wake Forest. UNC is obviously the right answer, but that's okay. Some people will choose differently. And so that is what the basic layout of a quiz looks like. So now I'm going to show you the responses. So the questions is on this tab, and the responses are right here. The responses will show you what every person that takes the assessment puts as a response. If you have quizzes, if you have the quiz feature enabled, it also gives you more breakdowns as far as who gets it right and wrong, and lots of bar graphs and charts. It gives you those charts anyway, as you can see, but it's not, as helpful. I mean, it can be when you're analyzing questions, but it's not as helpful as far as grading. Now, I went ahead and I submitted 4 different answer responses, and you can see that my email address popped up 4 times, and it has the different submissions. And I put in 4 different names. Now, to create a key for your flubaroo, if you're going to use flubaroo to grade, you need to create a key. And what that would involve would be you going to preview, opening up the quiz, and where the name is, you put key. And then you take the quiz and you put all the correct answers in. And then one of the submissions will be a key submission. And that's what you would use that to have as a key when you grade the assessment. So here are the 4 submissions, and what I want to do now is show you how to use flubaroo. So when you look up at your responses tab, there's a summary tab that tells you the whole group. There is an individual tab that'll take you through each submission's individual responses, which can also be helpful. And then over here is a green Google Sheet icon, and if you click on that, it will pull up a window and ask you if you want to open a new spreadsheet or add it to an existing spreadsheet. And if you do that, it brings up a spreadsheet, and and it always puts responses on the end. So here are my responses to my spreadsheet. And what I want to do now is talk about how to grade the spreadsheet. So to use that, you would go to flubaroo and you put add-ons, and you do flubaroo. And if you don't have flubaroo yet, you can go down to get add-ons, and a window will pop up, and you can search for flubaroo, and you can just add it in here, and it'll ask for permission, and then it'll add it. And then you can enable it for an assignment. Now, when you first start with an assignment, it will say grade assignment, but I've already graded this one once. And so I'm going to regrade the assignment because the procedure is the same. So if I click regrade assignment, it's going to pop up a window. Are you going to update your grades? Yes, I do. You can regrade as many times as you need to. So you could potentially be regrading the assignment while students are continuing to finish the assignment if you want to just check on the grades and see how they look. So you have grading options over here. You have points over here, and then the actual question that was in the Google form. So you can skip grading for certain things. You can change, so you can change identify students, skip grading, normal grading, or grade by hand. You can change the option for each one of them. The ones that are whited out are not going to count towards the score. Okay, the ones that are not whited out are the ones that do count towards the score. So normal grading is what I have selected for these, and I'm going to leave it as normal grading because I'm going to grade it. I want it to grade it automatically. If you wanted to do open-ended questions, there's something else you could do, and that would be to change it to grade by hand, but we'll talk about that in another video. So what you do then is you assign point values to each one of the questions. Now this guy right here was the how are you feeling today question, so I'm going to skip grading that question. And did you notice that when I did that, it whited it out, which means it's not going to count. So now I have the 4 questions from, I don't know why those are on there again. I have to go down there. That means something's going on with my quiz. How are you feeling today? Let me fix that real quick, and I'll be right with you. Okay, I've been using that how are you feeling today quiz question a few times. So I'm going to skip that one, and then down here where they are, I'm going to skip them as well because I know that question, I've added it a couple times, and that's why it's there. But I used this one. The answers that have been turned in are up on this one up at the top, so I'm not going to bother with that. I'm going to have these 4 questions. This one, number 1, 2, 3, and then what is the best college team? I just realized I forgot the number. So these are the 4 questions that I want to count as points, and I'm going to count all 3 of these as, let's see, I'll make them 2 points apiece. So I change them to the point value. And then this one I'm going to make 3 points apiece. I could make it 4 points apiece, or I can make it whatever. But that helps you weight questions that you want to weigh more than others. And then I hit continue. And it says, yeah, that's because I was messing around right there. That doesn't normally come up. So what you do next is you pick the key. You have all these answers. These are students that have taken the assessment, but the key is the one that you made as the teacher. So that's the one you want to use when you grade. And you hit continue. It's regrading. There they are. Grading is complete. So what it does is, if you look, the submissions that you had are on one page. That's what you started with. The grades tab pops up and it gives you the grades for the student. Now, anything you put on here, it doesn't all necessarily get graded. If you look, the names of the submissions of the students are over here, and the total points they got, and the percent is right here. So the overall grade is already averaged for you. And then if you look over, they have the correct for each question average. So looking at this, you can tell that Sophie got a 77, Michelle got a 66, Johnny got a 44 because the questions were weighted. So then the reds help you determine who's not doing super great and who is doing okay. One second. Sorry about that. One more interruption, but we're almost done. So you can tell that the names in red are lower than the threshold of proficiency. The black names are okay. That kind of helps you see who's doing what. And then you can go over here and see all the responses. And so what you can do is, after you get the grades and after they're finished being graded, or whenever you'd like to, you can go back to the flubaroo add-on and you can share the grades. And when you pull that up, it will bring this menu up and it'll ask if you want to do, it says email address question, which will allow you to, you can share via email, you can share via Google Drive, or email and Google Drive. You can include a list of questions and scores. You can include the answer key. You do not have to do any of those things. It is up to you. And then you hit continue, and it will share with the students what their grade was based on the assignment. It does not eliminate or take any of the data out of the spreadsheet. The data in the spreadsheet will stay there. So it doesn't matter if you release them or not. You may want to release them all as soon as they get done. You can do that also, or you can wait and release them all when everybody finishes. And that's something to keep in mind depending on how many times you give that assessment a day. So this was how to do a multiple choice quiz on Google and how to grade it with flubaroo. We can look on another video another time about how to grade open-ended questions, as well as how to use the Google Forms quiz grading feature. I'm sorry for the multiple interruptions with this one today, but I wanted to make sure this video was out for people that wanted to start using Google Forms to make quizzes. So have a great day.